Hello students, this video is about chapter 6 International Organization of class 12th Political Science. In this video, we will study about the importance or need of international organizations, evolution of United Nations as an international organization and the principal organ of the United Nations, that is the Security Council. So let's go. Let us begin to know what is the importance of an international organization. An international organization is one which works for the world, for all the nations of the world. Its responsibility is towards each and every nation present in the world today. Its main work is to maintain cooperation among nations so that it can avoid conflicts and wars. It also helps in fighting diseases. Diseases like AIDS, diseases like swine flu, diseases like Ebola virus, which travel from one part of the world to another, sickening everybody. Another important thing that it needs to do is to fight, to overcome environment degradation, so that the world can overpower global warming and become a better place to live. Global warming is not something which only a nation can overcome. Every nation has to work on it together. Another important work of these international organizations is to check on human right violation so that mankind is living in peace everywhere. And the international organization does much more. One international organization which we are all very familiar with and which works towards all these causes is UNO. Yes, the United Nations Organization. Now let us study, when did the UNO evolve? How and why? The First World War was a global war of its kind, which was very destructive. It lasted from 1914 to 1918. This war made man think that there is a need for an international organization which would help man to stop conflict. And that is why League of Nations, or LON, was founded in 1920. The main purpose why this League of Nations was founded was to avoid war. But this is where it failed miserably. And the world had to witness another disastrous war, and that was the Second World War. It was a catastrophe. It is called as an unparalleled war in history. The world was shattered into pieces. Mankind lost to one another. This war lasted from 1939 to 45. At the end of this war, the main leaders of the world, like the United Kingdom, China, USSR, they had only one thought in mind, and that was to frame such an organization which would be a successor to the League of Nations and would try and end war in the world and also help the countries to live in cooperation with each other. And that is when they came up with the idea and formed the United Nations Organization, or what is known as UNO. This name, United Nations Organization, was coined by Franklin D. Roosevelt, the President of USA. And UNO became a successor to the LON, that is the League of Nations, in 1945. 51 founding members signed the Union Charter to give birth to United Nations Organization. The main objective of United Nations Organization was to prevent war. Well, that is why it was formed. If it would prevent war, it would obviously work towards fostering cooperation among nations. That would help it to restrict hostility amongst nations, which could be possible if they would respect international law and also strengthen human dignity. So all these 5 things became the main objectives of the international organization UNO. But UNO needed more departments so that it could run successfully. And so there were some principal organs which make UNO complete. First of them is the General Assembly. Most important, Security Council. You have the Economic and Social Council, the Secretariat, the International Court of Justice and the Trusteeship Council. These 6 organs together form the UNO, United Nations Organization. The present strength of UNO is 192 members and they are all sovereign nations of the world. We celebrate 24th October 1945 as the UN Day. So this was about the United Nations and its evolution. I'll just go through the write-up once more for you all to read. I hope you all can read this and understand what is said. We celebrate 24th October 1945 as the UN Day. Let us now know about the Security Council. Like I said, it is the most important organ. It meets in the United Nations Conference Building in New York City, USA. Its first session was held on 17th January 1946. There are a total of 15 members in the United Nations organization, 15 member countries, of which 5 are permanent and 10 are non-permanent members. The 5 permanent members are Britain, USA, Russia, France and China. These are the 5 permanent members. They are the ones who were present when the United Nations was framed. And there are 10 non-permanent members who are elected for a period of 2 years on the basis of area. And these cannot be immediately re-elected. You understand what that means? That means that once they finish their 2 years term, they'll have to take a break and they can come back only after a few years and not immediately after they have left. These 5 permanent members have a special power which is known as veto power. Do you know what is veto power? Well, you will know that in just a second. Let us now understand the responsibilities of the Security Council. The Security Council can take direct actions or negotiations for disputes arising between states. So if 2 states are fighting or they have a problem amongst themselves, then the Security Council can directly negotiate the disputes arising between those states. Second, to resolve international disputes. If there are disputes happening with it or without outside these countries, even then the Security Council can resolve them. It prefers peaceful methods but can still use coercion. First, it will make all efforts by peaceful methods, dialogues, meetings. signing agreements. But when nothing works, then it can take resort to coercion, that is force. For military actions, for coercion, all member countries provide their military contingents, because the Security Council does not have a military contingent of its own. It is these member countries who provided it with the military contingents, even with the funds to run the Security Council. And so, these member countries come together and give their military contingents for any military action. To take such decisions, 9 out of 15 members have to pass the resolution, plus all permanent members too. So, to send the military contingents or to agree to go for a coercive action, 9 out of 15 members, remember there are 15 members to the total members to the Security Council. So, 9 out of these 15 members have to pass the resolution, and in these 15 members all permanent members too have to be included. If one permanent member does not support the resolution, does not pass. So, if one, even if one out of those 5 permanent members, if one permanent member does not support this resolution, then the resolution does not pass. This is known as veto power of the permanent member. So, now you know what the veto power is. Veto power is the power given to the permanent member to say no to a resolution passed in the Security Council. One example we can know about a military action was in 1991. The Iraq-Kuwait tangle. You have studied about it in a previous chapter. So, that is the function of the Security Council. The Security Council President rotates monthly amongst the members following the English alphabetic order. This is the list of the Security Council presidency in 2019. So, in June it will be Kuwait. You see, they go by an alphabetical order. At the end of the video, let me tell you who is the Secretary General of the United Nations. He is the highest functionary of the UN, and presently Antonio Guterres from Portugal is the Secretary General. For now, it is a goodbye from me, but see this video as many times as you want. Have a good day, children.